would say, amongst legit reasons, that one's up there.
Yes, for sure.
Yes, yes, yes. And we're doing Shechiana.
That's always my life. I'm on standby for a lot of tours. After I show Ethan the video and give her the link, it's gonna get way worse. Trust me. Huh? She will.
Ay, try it with me.
Shabbat Shalom. We take a moment to say thank you, God. Thank you for Shabbat. Thank you for bringing us to this day, for our health, for our community, our families. We let go the stress of this past week. We forget about the appointments and the obligations and the meetings, and instead we welcome in the spirit, the peace, the song of Shabbat. We begin this process of rest by lighting the Shabbat candles. Elizabeth and Sandy, we invite you up to the bima to light the Shabbat candles. Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת.
Amen, amen. We turn to page 12 in our Sidorim. Lechu neranana ladonai. Come, let us sing joyously to God. Page 12.
Lechu neranana ladonai. Nariya letzur yisheinu. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena ladonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena ladonai. Naria, naria letzur yisheinu, nekadma fanav betoda. Naria, naria letzur yisheinu, bizmirat naria lo. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena ladonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena ladonai. Naria, naria letzur yisheinu, nekadma fanav betoda. Naria, naria letzur yisheinu, bizmirot naria lo. ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ, ירם הים מלואו, יעלו שדי וכל אשר בו, אז ירננו כל עצי יער, לפני אדוני קיווה, קיווה לשפוט הארץ. ישפוט תבל בצדק, ועמים באמונתו.
We sing Romemu, page 17 on the bottom.
רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו.
You have a part, it's key.
כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו.
You might recognize this melody from a couple weeks ago, and if not, sing along when you catch on.
לך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ותפארת ולתחילה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה. מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה ומחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי. אורי, אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה. תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת שלה, בני שבת נקבלה. איי ידעי ידעי רי רי, איי ידעי ידעי רי, איי ידעי ידעי רי רי, איי ידעי ידעי 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 רי, ay yararay yararay ray ay yararay yararay ay yararay yararay ray ay yararay 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 ay yararay yararay ay yararay yararay ay yararay yararay
Now that we've taken a few minutes to welcome Shabbat, let's welcome each other. Say Shabbat Shalom to somebody new, somebody old. Talk to each other. Hold on, let me go say hi to my friend. Oh, my battery's gonna die. Do you want this? Yeah. We continue our service on page 22. We are singing Mizmor Shir Leyom HaShabbat, a psalm for Shabbat, page 22.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות, על עשור ולנבל, על היגיון וחינוך. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מה גדלו מעשיך מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. מה גדלו מעשיך מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך.
Shabbat Shalom. You already know what I'm going to talk about. This week, with the stroke of a keyboard, it seems that women may be losing a little bit of freedom. I did not fight for the right to privacy. It was something I was born into. Thank you, by the way, to those of you who did. But now, it seems, our rights may be being reduced. Our progress is being regressed. I want to talk about 3 areas tonight: Christianity, Judaism, and women. First, Christianity. The media likes to frame this conversation as a culture war, or as conservative versus liberal. Maybe that's true, but if it was only that, wouldn't personal liberty be the prevailing value? I think it's something else guiding this approach. From where I sit, the question is, how much should one religion in particular influence American law? How much should Christianity dictate policy? Christianity has always been lurking in the background of our country. From our founding fathers to our modern day senators, Christian ideas and ideals are present, often as subtext. But what if they become the text? We Jews have thrived in this country. The Jewish experiment in the United States is maybe the most successful of all time. Even with the recent spike in anti-Semitism, the access we've gained in this country is unparalleled. I mean, it's almost unthinkable that we've gained so much acceptance that our biggest worry, in the liberal world at least, is assimilation. Basically, that we've become so accepted into the mainstream that our Judaism will slip away. Christians who have largely dominated the leadership of our country are our friends, our family, and our great allies. We must hold that in mind. But we must also ask questions from a Jewish place. What would it mean for the Jewish people if certain sects of Christianity moved from background to foreground? If the Christian subtext becomes the text, what would it mean for women, for the LGBTQ community, for science, for history? I fear that increasingly outward Christian ideas will result in a narrowing of certain definitions that many of us hold dear, a narrowing of what it means to be a family. Will same-sex couples still be able to be defined as a family? Will women still be defined as independent adults? Will education include things like evolution, or will it all be narrowed? Jews have already experienced what it is like to live in the narrows. The Exodus itself was about getting out of the narrows. It's our name for Egypt. We were slaves in an idol-worshiping society. Pharaoh was a god. An eagle was a god. A wooden pole was a god. But those things were not our God. Judaism has its own ideas about religion, about families, about history, about education and personal autonomy and everything else. And we need to be free to express our religious beliefs. And if this ruling comes to fruition, it is a violation of those beliefs. I don't want to go back to Egypt, where our freedoms were narrowed by an alternative theology. We have already crossed that sea, and God took us out of there with an outstretched arm and an open hand. And we are here now, dancing on the shores of freedom. I am so outraged, saddened, and sickened about the prospect of going back to that narrow place. What's happening in our country right now is about partisanship. Of course it is. But it's also about dogma, about doctrinal beliefs. And take it from me, religious beliefs cannot easily be undone. What will happen if our secular American religion converts to a specific sect of Christianity? What would it mean if one view of one religion became enshrined in law and dictated public policy? So maybe this is a culture war, but maybe it's a religious one as well. And we, as Jews, need to have a voice. We need to organize and activate and vocalize. We might not win, but giving up is too great a risk, not just for women, but for everyone that does not subscribe to this specific religious dogma. Part 2, Judaism. There are times when I am ambivalent at best about Reform Judaism, when its flexibility and almost desperate desire for relevance makes me cringe. And yet, there are times like tonight when I am so deeply proud not just to be a Jew, but to be a liberal Jew, a Reform Jew. The Central Conference for American Rabbis, that's the governing body for Reform rabbis, issued a ruling on the topic of abortion. They wrote, "We cannot be silent. Be it therefore resolved that as inheritors and participants in a religious tradition that encompasses all human experience in its scope, we recognize that Jewish tradition has addressed itself to the question of the termination of pregnancy. We believe that in any decision whether or not to terminate a pregnancy, the individual, family, or woman must weigh their tradition as they struggle to formulate their own religious and moral criteria to reach their own personal decision. We believe that the proper locus for formulating these religious and moral criteria and for making this decision must be the individual, family, or woman, and not the state or other external agency." They go on. "Be it further resolved that as we would not impose the historic position of Jewish teachings upon individuals nor legislate it as normative for society at large, so we would not wish the position of any other group imposed upon the Jewish community or the general population." The Central Conference of American Rabbis wrote that in 1975. Judaism, and Reform Judaism particularly, believe in women as autonomous decision makers, as adults, humans, people. Judaism believes in women's health and safety. Judaism prioritizes the health of the mother. Judaism is a life-affirming tradition. Judaism values that life of the mother. Judaism says no woman is required to build the world by destroying herself. Judaism says a fetus is mere water. It is not that Judaism is pro-abortion. It is not. But the laws and teachings have been distilled for centuries. And what is clear is that women's voices matter when it comes to pregnancy. Liberal Judaism is right on this one and has been for a very long time. We will not diminish our autonomy, and we will fight for the autonomy of others in Judaism's name. Last, women. To all the women who have terminated a pregnancy, you are normal. You are part of the Jewish fold. You are loved. You are entitled to make your own decisions. Sometimes your decisions are clear, and sometimes your decisions are quite painful, but always they are yours. Sometimes these decisions are not your preference. You wish deeply, longingly, that the decision to terminate a pregnancy was anything but necessary. Many of us have felt as if we've walked in the valley of the shadow of darkness. I want all the women to know that we are out there walking with you. Women's experiences with pregnancy are often deeply private, intimate, and personal. But here with us, your community, you can talk about it all. About the highs and the lows, the clear decisions and the ambivalence, and everything in between. You don't have to hold it all alone. Women are not children. Women have children, and some women don't. For freedom to truly reign, for liberty to live, for Judaism to thrive, women need choice, like everyone else. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may it be God's will. We continue our service on page 28 with the Baruch Hu. Please rise.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך, ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
Please be seated. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhmah potech she'arim u'bitvuna meshane itim, u'machalif et hazmanim, u'misader et ha'kochavim, b'mishnorotayam barakia kirtzono, b'rayom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or.
ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו. אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב ערבים. אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת, עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו באורך ימינו, ובהם נגי יומם ולילה, נגי יומם ולילה. באהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד.
Please chant with me.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We turn to page 40 as we sing our song of freedom, Mi Chamocha.
Yai bye bye bim bim bam, ya ba bye bye bim bam. Yai bye bye bim bim bam, ya ba bye bye bim bam. Ay ay da 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 da, ya ba bye bye bim bam. Ay ay da 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 da, ya ba bye bye bim bam. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osef ele, nora tehilot osef ele, malchutecha ra'u banecha, bo k'hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, zeheli anu ve'amru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Yai bye bye bim bim bam, ya ba bye bye bim bam. Yai bye bye bim bim bam, ya ba bye bye bim bam. Yai yai da 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 da, ya ba bye bye bim bam. Yai yai da 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 da, ya ba bye bye bim bam. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom, aleinu el kol amo Yisrael. Ve'yam Yerushalayim. Amen. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית העולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית העולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את ברית עולם.
We're on page 46. Please rise for the Amidah.
Na 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 Adonai. Na 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 שפתי תפתח. Na 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 ופי יגיד. ופי יגיד תהילתך. Na 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 שפתי תפתח. Na 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 ופי יגיד. ופי יגיד תהילתך. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואימותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק, ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל, ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
We continue with silent prayer.
רצון אמרי פי, יחיו לרצון אמרי פי, והגיון ליבי לפניך, meditations of my heart be acceptable before you. O God, my rock and my redeemer. Ose shalom bimroma. Uyase shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'al kol yoshvei tevel.
We make a Misha Berach, a prayer for healing for those in our community in need of healing of the body, mind, spirit. If there's someone you'd like to offer a healing prayer to tonight, please share their name. And we make space for those of you streaming at home to also share a name. Mishaberach Avotenu ve'imotenu Avraham Yitzhak ve'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah hu yivarech et hacholim. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit. And together we say, Amen.
Mishaberach Avotenu mekor habracha le'imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
So after Misha Berach, in a traditional service, there's a section of the service that we lovingly refer to as other stuff. And now we're in the other stuff section. So what we put here as a community are smachot, happy things. So if anyone has something happy that they'd like to share with us, a birthday, a holiday, someone smiled at you on the street, I don't know, tell us now, Judy.
I'm going to Paris on Monday.
So I'll repeat it for those of you at home. Judy is going to Paris on Monday. Nesiya Tova. May it be a wonderful trip. Excited for you. So I also have good news, something happy to share, which is that we are welcoming you, Bahara, to the Jewish people tonight officially. Although actually it was official, when was that? 2 days ago? Yeah. 2 days ago. Bahara completed the conversion process and immersed in the mikvah. And we invite you up to the bima now, Bahara, where I'll talk to you a little bit and ask you some questions, and it'll be good. Don't worry. So, Bahara, beautiful name for a beautiful person.
Thank you.
It is a true joy to stand here with you tonight. Welcome to us.
Thank you.
Welcome to your people.
That's good.
This is your spiritual and religious home. I've had the privilege of getting to know you a little bit over these past many months, and you are the sort of person that I am deeply grateful is willing to join the Jewish people. In a way, if I'm being honest, converting to Judaism is a bit of a strange choice. You are choosing to become a minority. You are choosing to join a historically and currently persecuted people. But you, Bahara, are up to the challenge.
Thank you.
You are warm, you are creative, you are insightful, and you're a bright light.
Thanks so much.
You will bring that light to your future child
Yeah.
and to the Jewish people entire.
Yeah.
The Talmud teaches that a person who chooses Judaism is more dear to God than born Jews who stood before Mount Sinai. Why? Because had the Jews not seen the thunder and the mountains quaking and the sounds of the horn, they would not have accepted Torah. But you, who saw none of those things, who did not stand at Sinai, came and surrendered yourself to God and accepted upon yourself the ideas of Judaism. Could anything be more dear to God than that?
It's quite lovely.
I ask you, Bahara, these questions.
Okay.
Do you choose to enter the eternal covenant between God and the people Israel and to become a Jew of your own free will?
I do.
Do you commit yourself to the pursuit of Torah and Jewish knowledge?
Absolutely. I do.
Do you promise to establish a Jewish home and participate in synagogue life and the Jewish community?
Absolutely.
I know you will. If you should be blessed with a child, do you promise to raise them as a Jew?
Absolutely.
Do you commit to building a meaningful relationship with the state of Israel and its people?
Yes, for sure.
Do you accept Judaism to the exclusion of all other religious faiths?
Absolutely.
Do you pledge your loyalty to Judaism and to the Jewish people under all circumstances?
Absolutely.
Bahara, our people are now your people. Wherever we will go, you will go. Crying is okay.
Oh my God.
Chazak va'amatz, may you go from strength to strength, and may you be strengthened. Mazel tov.
Oh, thank you, Rabbi. I appreciate it. Thank you.
We sing Shehechianu together. Congratulations, so happy for you. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh We turn to our concluding prayers. Aleinu is on page 282. Please rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
We turn now to Mourner's Kaddish on page 294. We think of those whom we've lost this past year or at this time in years gone by. We mourn the passing of Russell Lees, Ted Horowitz, Helen Jansen, Lee Brosgol, Trudy Kaplan, James Aragona, Bunny Zimmer, Gladys Shukar, and Robert Friedman. We observe the yard sites for James Corenthal, Dan Francescan, Bernice Shore, Andrew Villani, William Lowenthal, and Mildred Weinstein. Are there additional names at this time? We rise for Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, bi'alma divrach hiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayachon uvyomechon uv'chayeh dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam v'l'olmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitzpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudesha baruchu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'el kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'el kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, amen.
Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel.
Please be seated. We welcome Jill Wilkinson, our co-president, to the Bima for announcements.
I don't even have that many announcements, but I always have to write everything down. Thank you for a beautiful service. It was lovely, as always. Thank you, thank you. You had Sarah and me in tears back there. Mazel tov to you, Bahara. We're so excited that you're a part of our community. We wish you all years of joy, health, and just in peace. So thank you for being part of our community. So we have a couple of things coming up. We have our big spring benefit coming up on the 18th, and if you haven't signed up, please sign up. It's at the Housing Works. It's on Crosby Street. We're gonna have food, we're gonna have drink, we're gonna have music, and we're hoping everyone donates. So come and join us. We hope to see you there. It's been a couple of years since we've had an in-person event like that, so it'll be a lot of fun. And we get to celebrate our wonderful community. On May 20th, we have actually also as part of the spring benefit theme, we have a choir Shabbat followed by a family dinner. So if you can't make it on the 18th, or if you want to come on the 18th and come on the 20th, do it all. That's wonderful. And then on the 25th, we have our annual congregational meeting, where you get to vote on the budget, you get to vote on the slate, and we will have drinks ahead of time just to get you all in here, because we do need a quorum. And if you can't be here in person, do send a proxy in. The votes count either way. As always, we have our social action committee doing amazing things. If you're interested in signing up, all the information is in the e-blast. And I think that's everything. So Shabbat Shalom, and thank you for being here.
We close our service with words of blessing. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka. May God's light shine upon you, and may God be gracious to you. Yisad Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May you feel God's presence within you always, and may you find peace.
Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru
shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.